Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mercurio Project. It is nice to see you all again. Welcome back to my ramblings. I just have so many ideas, guys, that I want to share. Um, Things that deeply affect me, things that I've gone through on my self-improvement journey. And I think one of the big things that we want to talk about, or at least I want to talk about in the world of self-improvement, is the acknowledgement of weakness. Weakness is one of the most unforgivable things that a person can be. Let me explain. I consider myself a strong person, not just mentally, or not just physically, but, mentally, spiritually. But that comes from having the strength to overcome my weaknesses. Now, I'm going to go through the three different kinds of weaknesses that I believe there are, some philosophical concepts, how I kind of overcame these weaknesses, and yeah, I'm just gonna ramble. I think the lowest kind, not as in the lowest of the low, but the not so bad kind, is physical weakness. There's nothing wrong with, I'm strong so that way I can protect people or help people that aren't as capable as I am. There's nothing wrong with it, right? But when I was younger, I felt such a deep guilt. Like I said in my previous videos, I was a chunky kid, and my family made sure I knew it. They made sure that I knew exactly how unathletic I was. Playing tag, always get tagged, couldn't tag anyone. uh, I couldn't do a pull-up, I couldn't climb trees, yada yada, and I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like that feeling of not being able to do stuff. And so I overcame this weakness through physical training. And it can be anything you want, right? I'm not saying you gotta be a bodybuilder. I'm saying dude, if you wanna skate, skate. You wanna be an acrobat, be an acrobat. You wanna learn how to punch people in the face, punch people in the face. You wanna be a cyclist, be a cyclist. You wanna be an avid walker, absolutely. You know what I mean? Just don't do nothing. Just don't do nothing. Don't be one of those people that's like, exercise is for chumps. It's not. It's not. You want to do yoga? Do yoga. Because the mind and the body are so interconnected. They've done research on babies that when they're crawling around and doing stuff more and moving around more, or they participate in gymnastics activities at a young age, their neurodevelopment is through the roof compared to kids that just sit and watch TV all day. So that's one thing. It's the easiest to solve. It's not the worst sin in the world. The second is mental weakness. Now, I am a huge advocate of not trusting my brain. I like to think, but I don't like to think, because the brain is the source of all problems, in my opinion. It's what tells you that you're worthless. It's what tells you that you're ugly. It's what tells you that you're fat and stupid and you should not, and you don't deserve to live. Why would I trust something that's telling me to die? I exactly. The biggest weakness of the mind is fear. Fear and two things, fear and procrastination. So, I have had many experiences, many a dance with fear in my life. So let's pretend that right here in the middle is fear. On this side is coming towards fear and then avoiding it. And this side is overcoming fear, right? So you come up against fear and you get that feeling. It's not a good feeling. Believe me, I know your mouth gets dry, your hands get clammy, your stomach turns upside down. It sucks. And it's not good, right? It's right here in the center. And if you walk away from that fear, if you don't make that call, you don't ask that person out, you don't take your shot, you don't do that thing that you always wanted to do, then there's that feeling of horrible rejection and failure and worthlessness that, it's soul crushing. I've been there, like getting too scared to go on a ride and everyone's laughing at you because you're sitting on the edge. That's one thing I'll admit. I hate roller coasters. I will never ride a roller coaster. I hate them. I've tried. I don't like them. But it's that feeling of it's what kind of originates those horrible, terrible feelings of worthlessness. On the other side of fear is achievement. Even if you don't achieve the thing you wanted to do, you still beat fear. So, my big thing is I'm scared of heights. And spelunking, but I'll never go spelunking because I like to stay on the surface of the earth, not in it. But I'm scared of heights. And I got this excellent book. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Ya-ta-ta, ya-ta-ta. Nope. 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 Where is the thing? Where is the thing? Is this good content, guys? Just listening to my me. Oh, bingo! Found it.
The Art of Fear. I know that this is probably backwards. By Kristen Ulmer. Woo! I love this book. Basically tells you that fear is not a bad thing to feel. It's the rejection of fear that's the bad feeling. So like I said, anyway, my fear is of heights. And I do parkour a lot. I do parkour. And when I'm doing a move called a precision jump, it's where you're basically jumping in between two objects. And sometimes it's a nice flat surface, and sometimes it's a teeny tiny rail. And when it's a teeny tiny rail, I'm thinking, dude, if I slip on this thing, I'm gonna bust my head open and die. But I'm not actually gonna die. I'll be fine. And I'll get up onto that ledge, and then I'll start thinking about the jump. And I get that feeling, my hands get clammy, my chest gets tight, my stomach turns upside down, and I'm like, ugh. But if I don't think, if I just do it, make the jump, ta-da! I overcame fear, and even if I slipped, falled, and busted my butt open, I made the jump. The big thing I want you guys to remember, it is not in the achievement, it is in the trying. That's all that matters. It is in the trying. The honest trying, the not giving up trying. Another way that the mind tricks us is procrastination. Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. No, you're not. No, you're not. And you know you're not, because guess what's going to happen? By the time you do it later, the situation has spiraled out of control. It is over. It is. Now you have twice as much stuff that you have to do than if you had just done it at the first time, which I'll get into another video, and I'll call it Just Do It Now. The third weakness is the weakness of the soul. And that comes from one source. Well, weakness of the soul, I guess, can be categorized as sin. We all know what sin is, right? Nothing wrong with a little bit. But there's something wrong with a lot of it. The big one, I think the source of all weakness of the soul is in lying. Don't like liars too much. Because lying is a dishonesty to both yourself and to another person. It is saying, you cannot trust me. And I can't even trust me. And at the end of the day, I can sit here and I can, be like, oh my gosh, I'm so successful. Look at my $1 million. But if I'm a liar, And everyone knows me as a liar. No money's gonna fix that. No money's gonna change that. I'm not good to my word. It's not a good thing to be. It's not a good thing to be. I think I got into the focus of weakness from, I think it was Nietzsche that talked about the inner worm, and it's basically like the worst of your personalities just mixed into one thing, and it kind of helps me detach myself when I'm feeling like, I'm like, what does the ideal Michael Mercurio want to do, and what would the worm want me to do? You know what I mean? I get home from a long day of being a gymnastics instructor, picking up kids, throwing them around, spotting, you know, climbing out of the pit. And if you've ever climbed out of a gymnastics pit, you know it's impossible. It takes pure athleticism to climb out of a gymnastics pit. And I'm just going, oh my God, I'm so tired. I don't want to cook. I'm going to order out. Why would I order out? So then I think, I stop and I think, I'm like, listen, what are the pros and cons of ordering out? I am going to be spending so much money on food that's not going to make me feel great. And I can take the money that has already been spent in my fridge and I can make a meal or learn how to cook. And then I'll cook. I don't want to, but I'm going to. And then I got to do the dishes. Oh! Hate doing the dishes. But, like I said, weakness of the mind. The mind likes to give out before you're done. So I'll do the dishes. And then I will be so tired that I will shut my eyes and I will fade into the night. So yeah, I think what would the ideal Michael Mercurio do? And then the worm would be like, dude, I'm just gonna eat out, leave the trash, and like, I don't know. Enjoy a nice smoke. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but whatever. I'm figuring out the ropes. So, when you are faced with a decision, an opportunity to demonstrate strength or to demonstrate weakness, demonstrate strength. Time out. Side tangent. What even is strength, right? I'm not going to sit here and say, like, strength is to be a lone wolf, an absolute, the lion amongst sheep. No. Strength is being honest with yourself. Strength is being honest with others. Strength is being faithful and denying these weaknesses. Strength is being open with your partner. Strength is being open with your friends. Strength is relying on other people, because believe me, there is no better way to show your strength than to admit that you are weak and that you need help. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you need help, find the strength to ask for it. I'm not going to sell you some kind of, lie that says like you need to figure out your problems yourself. Sometimes you do. If you need the time, take it away. But have the strength to tell your loved ones, I'm not okay and I need help. It's scary. It is to be vulnerable. It's scary to be vulnerable and to open to people. And I can understand why a lot of people shy away from it, but have the strength to be kind. Have the strength to be gentle. Have the strength to love. Have the strength to forgive. That's tough. Anyways, guys, I'll see you around. Thank you so much for the comments. I appreciate them. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.